Jared, and
I'm
I'm
Greg.
today with Rick.
So tonight we're kind of winging it. We both had a week already. Uh, Somebody went fishing today, got themselves burnt up,
And riding yesterday.
and riding yesterday.
It's
I,
beautiful weather. I cannot not ride. I mean, it's one of
I,
those things that
I of course was working and dealing with family stuff, so it's already been a week. But tonight, I don't know. I like questions. I think we should put some questions out there. You know, like you and I were just talking about the government saying people making anti-government statements, which there are people out there that make those statements. The last time I checked, this was America, and you have the right to make those statements, and everybody else has the right to either agree with it or disagree with it. Last time I checked, the government can't slap a piece of tape across your mouth and tell you what you can say.
well, apparently they are for that young Marine over here on what's that? What's his name? He's 24-year-old Marine became the first service member convicted of taking part in a Capitol riot. And they convicted him for illegally parading or demonstrating in the Capitol, which is a misdemeanor. So they're holding these guys all this time for a misdemeanor and to pay $500.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a waste of resources.
So since
Them guys should have already set their.
so since he's active duty, was he considered AWOL the whole time he was in civilian jail?
But if that's a federal building, he's a
If it's
federal
a federal
employee.
building, he's in a
It's
federal.
already a
So so then was he considered on duty the whole time he was in there? If it was a federal building in a federal penitentiary,
century. You would think,
if so, was he getting paid the whole time?
you know,
Well, it should have been
should have been.
because he didn't. He didn't. Oh well, I won't say didn't because I'm not that astute, but it wouldn't seem to me that he had violated the UCMJ at this point. And if he had, then in order for them to stop his pay, they had to take UCMJ action. I've heard
He
no mention
had
of this.
something on at the riot that identified him as a service member. There's other service members there that are waiting trial for the same damn charge.
Hmm.
Apparently, a misdemeanor.
So these people been in jail for 2.5 years for a misdemeanor. They should have been out on time served 6 months after they got there.
6 days after they got there, if they only get
Whatever the case may
$500.
be. So
I know. I know. Where we were at it county, it was like 196 something
yeah,
a day
yeah.
for tickets. So it was almost $100 a day. Is what they had. It was
So
3 days, and it was
so I
free.
guess that's the first question I want to put out there is to all my fellow Americans, whatever your leaning is, left, right, middle, sideways, upside down, I don't care. This man here and I and every other veteran swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. That means whether I agree with you or not, I will stand shoulder to shoulder and toe to toe with you, and at the very least, argue the point that you have the right to say and be what you want to be, even if I don't necessarily agree with that belief system. But you have the right in America to be that way. So I would like to pose the question to anybody that decides to watch tonight, to tell all your friends. I want to know, do you think the government has the right to tell you what you can and can't say, other than within reason? You can't yell fire in a crowded theater and things like that. But if you just want to stand on the street corner and talk to everybody that comes by and say, I believe everybody ought to wear red socks on Tuesday, that's not illegal in America, last time I checked. Now, there may be some city ordinance that says you got to get permission from the city to stand on that corner. And having worked in code enforcement, I think that's stupid because that's a public street corner and you're part of the public. And you ought to be able to stand on that street corner as long as you're being decent to folks and say what you want to say. You can't be there cussing people out and throwing things. But it's amazing that if you have a job in America and you work hard and you do the things you're supposed to do, those are the people they seem to want to make be quiet. They just want you to go to work, put your head down, and pay your taxes, and let Daddy Sugar take care of you because they know what's best for you.
Well,
And I'm being a grumpy old man today.
that's the
I'm
left,
just saying.
the left crazies over there. The extremists. Now, I've got friends that are leftists, and me and them can sit down and we can have a discussion, stuff like that. But them whole taking it during COVID to the 28 other fucking genders in this world is stupid. Um, because when they dig up your bones, they're gonna look and be like, okay, you were a male or you were a female.
Well,
Well, cut your dick off. Your bones is gonna still say you're a female or a male. I don't care what kind of gender assignment you
it goes back to
have.
the.
That's here nor there. We were talking about the dude on the boogerman and all the second Civil War and shit, and that's where I was. And a Marine talking about all that shit and anti-government and this, that, and the other. They called him anti-government. He was never anti-government. He's just anti. I don't like your shit, okay? Because they know that you're fucking up as Congress. And I even put something on my Facebook, Greg, that was a nice letter to the President of the United States, which I found out later they did not kick the veterans out of the hotel, but there was a big fraud thing. I don't.
Hmm.
We haven't figured out what it uncovered, but it was a lot. But you know, veterans in this country are becoming uh,
Tired.
a negotiating for politics, and it always has, but it's coming to the point. Like on June 1st, they said something about us not getting paid with veterans. Now, you think these old cats, not you, but these Vietnam 70, 60, 70-year-old guys, you think they got shit to lose? If you take away their whole livelihood, they live on those checks.
I got news for you. If they don't pay me that VA check on the first of the month, my family gonna be homeless because that pays my rent.
That pays my house.
My job pays for the groceries and the gas, and that's about it.
My wife's job pays the bill, electric. So,
My sister, what's my,
I mean,
what are,
I know we have enough. We'll be good for
but what are people like my sister supposed to do? My sister's on that active duty contract with the Navy. They don't pay her for a month. Her husband has a job, but that won't cover all their bills and their rent and everything. Because if she don't get paid, she's not going to get her uh, her what am I trying to say? Housing allowance. Yeah, she's not going to get her housing allowance. So how's she supposed to pay her rent?
Well, they ain't said nothing about the active duty. They were just talking about veterans, like.
Well, they were talking about the military the other day.
Oh, were they? I
Yeah,
I haven't heard that part. I just know that he was talking about veterans,
yeah.
border patrol, and customs and ICE. I think it was. Were the four going to get
Oh,
cut?
well, you know he
And I
wants
was like, oh, okay. So we're going to cut the border patrol. The only ones that are actually out there fighting. I watched the goddamn border patrol and a gun truck fucking drive down the border shooting each other the other day. I mean, Title 42 is gone.
Yeah.
It's like being on the border of Iraq again. You know, they were like, "Oh, it's not war's over." No, no, it was never over. Y'all just decided to end the conflict that started. It- Whatever. Instead of him getting his ass in trouble, he went ahead and stopped it so that way he couldn't get his ass in trouble instead of going around pinning.
Well, and
But that's the way it was. But
that's one of those freedom of speech things. If you say, "Hey, we need to do something about the border problem," well, you're a racist. I don't care what nationality you are. I mean, America's made of immigrants, dude. Our families were immigrants way back when,
my wife,
you know, Everybody, your wife's an immigrant. My parents' family was immigrants way back when, you know,
I had this argument with everybody out there.
but once we established a sovereign nation with borders, those borders have to be respected. Why is it we're spending billions of dollars to defend the border of Ukraine, but
But
we
we're letting people that by the thousands. Hell, they done let 90 something, caught 90 something people on the FBI most wanted terrorist group list. And that's what they caught.
yeah.
In a matter of a few months, they caught this. But yet, what about the ones you didn't catch?
Hmm.
And I put a thing up there about Title 42, and people were, you know, oh, all these innocent people. Okay, my wife got her citizenship, what, 2 years ago? It was right
Yeah, something like that.
21. 21. She got her 2021. It cost us almost $20,000 for her to get her citizenship.
Hmm.
Now, you telling me that she has been here as a citizen and doing all this other stuff and everything and living as a citizen all this time, finally got her citizenship, and she's paying taxes. But her taxes are now going to the ones that didn't pay the $20,000.
That's right.
So, it's like a waste for me. It's so, and then everybody wants to bitch and argue. And I understand, maybe we need to reform the because it does take forever and it's very expensive. Reformation, reform it, redo something. Help have them do their own damn shit instead of having to hire a lawyer.
We're the
Hell,
only
Hell did hers and it was still costing.
we're the only country basically in the world that doesn't make you prove that you have a skill that's going to be beneficial to society to immigrate here. Like if you try to immigrate to Mexico, they're going to ask you, what is your job? What is your education level? What are you going to bring to the table? If you try to go to Cuba, same thing. You try to go to Canada, same thing.
Canada's a no go.
That's what I mean. You can't just walk in there and sit down and be like, hey, take care of me.
Well, Canada's prime minister's in big fucking trouble.
Yeah, I know.
Because they found all the videos where he's talking about Canadians believe in the gun and we're gonna keep our guns, and now he's president and he's like, oh, no more firearms, period.
Mhm.
No more assault rifles, no more shotguns, no more handguns, no more anything. And people they're giving their damn guns up, and it's like, oh, but we're increasing taxes, we're increasing this, we're moving this, and now it's like, oh,
Yeah, you have to.
we
You have
can't
to
fight
agree.
back because we don't have anything. Canada's crime in British Columbia is ridiculous.
Well,
And,
yeah.
I mean, I was watching a video where the cops are driving around with Narcan because everything's illegal over there.
Hmm.
So they drive around British Columbia with Narcan. He says I'll use 8 to 10 vials a day on a regular shift.
Hmm.
He's like, and I'll Narcan them. They'll refuse treatment at the hospital. 5 minutes later, they have another hit of fentanyl or heroin.
Hmm.
Ridiculous.
Hmm.
I mean, but that's what they're trying to move further south,
Oh, I know.
and they're doing a good job of blocking a lot of it. But
Well, and look at what what our education system has become. They spend more time teaching every woke theory there is.
and
These kids can't even balance a bank account when they get out of high school unless mom and dad teach them. They're more likely to take equity and diversity class than they are economics.
well, they don't have to because computers do it for them now because that really makes sense. You know, nobody showed them how to fill out a W-4 or W-2 or
I guess AI is going to do that for you in the future, right?
your W-4 and
Yeah.
1099s and all that income tax stuff. where you had to claim your dependents, read all that, sign like 7 pages, shit, just so they could say, "Yeah, we're taking money from the right person because we're just going to spend it in Ukraine or another country." I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, they were talking about people getting killed, and I was like, "What about the ones that are killing? What about the 5 that got hit down there with the car?" Mm.
Yeah.
Florida, Florida's bad right now.
Well, it's like that story about that 12-year-old kid that shot that convenience store guy the other day, right? And every headline is 12-year-old shoots store clerk with with AR style rifle. Why does it matter what gun he shot him with? He shot him with a gun.
And why in the hell is the 12-year-old got a damn gun anyway?
Well, he didn't. He was in there with some relative and walked out to the truck, got the gun, walked back in, and shot the guy. And then it was a whole weird story. But anyway, my point being, they want to stress what kind of gun he shot him with. Well, if somebody beats somebody to death with a bat, are they going to take the time to tell me what label's on the bat? Are they going to tell me whether it's aluminum or metal or wood or
More people die because of medical malpractice every year than they do in mass shootings.
more
Let's
people?
stop doctors.
More people die from drunk drivers every year than they do in mass shootings. We haven't banned alcohol yet because we know that
Obesity,
doesn't work.
diabetes, everything more than mass shootings. In
So
other words,
how
we
come
got to ban spoons and forks because it makes us fucking fat.
how come if a drunk driver runs over somebody in a Chevy, you can't sue Chevrolet, but if somebody shoots somebody with a Smith and Wesson, you can sue Smith and Wesson.
And win. They won
Yeah.
against Remington. That
Well,
is so ridiculous. It's not Remington's fault.
no.
They produced the gun. That's all they did. They produced a firearm, just like they've been doing since 18 some shit back in the day. Same thing with Winchester, Colt, and all of them. It's this shit was ridiculous, bro. It's
Dude,
coming down to they're like, oh, AR style rifles. Well, tell me the difference in the round of an AR style rifle and a Mini 13 ranch, the ranch rifle.
yeah, Mini 14 ranch rifle. There isn't one.
No, no.
But
The
the
only
Mini
difference is
14,
the receiver, and one looks like a more tactical style gun.
but the Mini 14 looks like one of those old clunky guns. You know those less lethal ones, the
Oh,
M1 Garand and the M1 carbine
oh
and
yeah,
the
the ones they don't
M14.
make anymore that are antiques.
Yeah, it's built like that, so it's not harmful.
I just want to know, I can understand if you said Savage Axis was, banned. I'd be okay with that. Unless you do a lot of work on them, they're
Crap.
yeah, they're cheap entry level guns unless you do trigger jobs, bolt.
But my question is,
But
I always ask what's next. So if they get rid of one rifle or one style of rifle, then it'll be another style, then it'll be a style of handgun, then it'll be, you can't have a bow and arrow, then it'll be you can't have a slingshot, and then it'll be you can't have a golf club or a baseball bat, and then you can't have a pocket knife, and you can't have sharp knives in your kitchen, and it's just going to keep going down the line because that's the way a government works. You know, once they get a hold of your right and start pulling it away from you, they're never going to give it back.
no,
The only way they're going to give it back is when they figure out how they can make money off of it, like alcohol.
I well, I wish they just go ahead and legalize marijuana.
Do what?
I wish they just go ahead and legalize marijuana. I mean, I don't know why they don't. Hell, I just got back from fishing, so uh, they're smoking. You know, there's like 5 people around me, and they're all smoking. So I was like, Jesus, don't mind. I was like, damn.
You should have shared it with the fish. You might have caught some.
I caught one yellow bass, dude. We caught 8 turtles.
Oh, you were at White Rock. That's all it's in White Rock anymore is turtles. That's all it's in everywhere. Because in Texas, all aquatic turtles are protected species, even the ones that don't belong here.
Red
We're,
Ear,
huh?
like Red Ear Sliders and the others.
Yeah, those don't belong here.
But we caught a shitload of big alligator snappers, and boy, they were hissing at us. Ooh, that was growling and mad. But, guy told me he's like come back tomorrow after it rains in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
He's like that's when we start catching. Like that's I wore him out the other day doing that. Like before the front, catfish won't mess with you, bass will hit you. After the front, catfish will hit you, bass won't mess. Let you know where they're bedding up. They bass kind of off after the front. Depends on how long the front moves through. But anyways, now I mean I'm to the point now. I see how the politics, and it's not just left wing, right? It's politics. Bush was there too. Clinton was there too. I mean, hell, the only two that I haven't seen is Trump and Reagan. Hell, they got to come out and declassify the documents that done said the CIA had something to do with the FJ's assassination. So it's no longer a theory. It's now declassified. Just to let everybody know. But I mean, that's not a big deal. So we're just not going to publicize that because it only happened during before Vietnam, the Reconstruction Workers' War, and LBJ got fucking rich off the oil and all that stuff, and all the Halliburton and things.
Well, plus they enjoy blaming it on Dallas.
Yeah, because they wanted to blame it on Dallas, but now we know it was the CIA that planned everything. Which I told everybody, I was like, a 6.5 Carcano was the worst rifle ever made for a wartime. You're not going to shoot 200 yards accurately at a moving target. You'll be lucky if you shoot a fucking bus at a 50 yards sitting still. I mean, that thing is a hunk of junk. When they made them, they were shit. But I mean, let me just tell you, they're not known to make weapons, but they make a hell of a good people. All right, everybody speaks all. But anyways, now it's all starting to come out, and people are starting to see this and that thing. I, you know, big pharma. If you look at who's invested in what, you know what politicians and what pockets. And so everybody's like, for the people, by the people, for the government, constitutional republic. No, it's not. It is now who has more money and which family has more money to get elected.
Well, see, that's one of the things I said about you want to do election reform. I think you should have a budget mandated by the government. You can't spend more than X amount of dollars on an election, and it shouldn't be much, like $30,000. If you can't convince me for $30,000 that I need to vote for you, I don't need to vote for you. I don't need flashy commercials. I don't need fancy, funny stuff. I mean, it's cool to watch, but I'd prefer somebody to just get on there and break it down.
Well, they
Look,
done said Brandon's not going to debate anybody this year. So there's not going to be a debate, at
oh,
least for the Democrat side.
I mean, there'll be a debate. He'll be debating with himself, wondering what
Where
ice cream
he's
bucket
at.
he's in. Yeah.
Dude, that's all you hear from him is of of bicycles and of ice cream and Skittles. I'm like,
If you,
holy shit, shut up.
I don't know, man. I know people that think the current administration just hung the moon, and I don't understand it. Like I I respect all those offices in our government. I respect it. It's kind of like the military. I got to respect the rank and title, but I don't have to respect you as a person.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
But it's getting harder and harder to separate the two.
Mm, I have a really good title for a blanket title for all of them. Politicians. They're all fucking idiots and crooked.
Well, they're all lawyers
Look at the
for the most
stock.
part.
Look at the stock. Look at how many are invested in big pharma and all this other stuff. Bill Gates. I mean, they all know, and now they want they want the government to bail out Moderna. Really?
Didn't the government already pay Moderna enough money during COVID?
Why are they bankrupt now? And they got billions of dollars. Mhm. Dude, it's all about greed anymore, man.
Oh, I know.
People don't understand. I live a very simple life. Me and my
Me
wife,
too. Sleep, eat, work, repeat.
we don't make a lot of. We live nicely,
But
comfortably,
it's like when the
but
government,
it,
go ahead.
it's not. Everybody wants to buy the new fucking supercar and have the multimillionaires and all this other stuff and generational wealth. And it's nice having wealth where you don't have to work. You don't. That's great. It's boring as hell. I don't know why people do it. I wish I It's one of those things that they just don't seem like they're, you know, it's the way the world revolves. They all want to be better and something else. They want to be the next rich guy, the next Bill Gates, the next billionaire.
Hmm.
I don't care about being a billionaire. I
I
live
mean,
on
I ain't gonna lie, it'd be nice.
struggle, but I mean, we live comfortably. I mean, we live with what within our means.
Hmm.
But these guys out here, they've got to the point where they gotta have more. They gotta have more, and they gotta have more, just like greed and
Well, it's all about who dies with the
not,
most toys.
it's hurting us. It's not hurting them
Yeah.
because their shit's paid for by the government. All their medications and all their medical's free. Like
Hmm.
for the rest of their life, once they become a citizen, they
Yep.
never have to buy a medication or nothing. It's all you know for them. So med- veterans don't get
No.
that.
I mean,
I'm just
I,
not a
I
part
can
of
I
that.
consider myself I consider myself lucky, you know, my situation as far as healthcare insurance goes. But no, not everybody has that. You know.
And it's not healthcare. I was on that damn town hall meeting earlier for the VA. Did you get that text message?
Uh, I think I did, but I had something else going on today. So
That message on.
do what?
It was between 6 and 7, so I went ahead and got on for a little bit. And it was the North Texas VA director of medical, and it was basically like a bit session, like the
That's
old AARs. What could we have done better? Well, if you'd have done your job, this guy would have been able to do his job better,
mm-hmm.
kind of thing. I left about halfway through it when he started talking. That one guy, he started talking for like 10 minutes, and I was like, "Yeah, you're telling me your whole fucking medical background." Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's something I noticed when I worked for the VA, and I think the average workaday person at the VA, most of them really do care. They want to help veterans. They want to be there and do a good job, but they get beat down by the powers that be.
And
Uh,
that's like we were talking about the employer. They keep talking about how short they are. There's so many vets that are transitioning to these jobs that are going to do it great. The exact same thing
huh.
they were doing on a civilian level next to the VA. And people like me that were trying to get into the VA forever.
Yeah,
I
I
stopped,
know.
and now I mean, hell, at least you're right there. You can go to your doctor's appointments. You got what you got to get, what you got to do.
Yeah,
But no, they shouldn't be getting beat down if they would have a supplemental hire or something.
yeah. I'm not real sure how that works either.
Going to like USA jobs.
Well, and the
But yeah,
speed with which they hire. Yeah,
yeah, that's the whole.
the speed with which they hire. When somebody's applying for a job, they're applying for a job because they need a job.
Mhm.
They're not applying because they need a job 6 months from now after you write your budget report.
That too, because I was looking at a bunch of while they were short on doctors at the VA. Do you know some of those doctors? It takes almost 3 years for them to get fucking vetted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you're telling me I got to wait 3 years to have a job? Dude,
Yeah.
I'm a cardiologist. I will walk in any hospital in the United States and I'll have a job making a lot of money. I don't need to come to the VA for no damn insurance, special pay, and 30
Mm-hmm.
retirement.
Well, and that's the thing is, like I told you when I got hired there, I had applied for that job a year and a half before I got the interview. I had forgot I even applied for it. When they called me, they were like, "We'd like to interview you." I was like, "For which job?" And they're like, "You don't know?" I'm like, "I don't know. This was a year and a half ago." And they were like, "Oh, well, we just got your resume." I was like, "Okay." Well, then I went for the job, and the job interview stated I was interviewing for a job in Dallas, and I was. I was interviewing for a job in Dallas. The job was in Montana. Now, if I'm a Texas vet, why do I have to go to Montana to get a VA job?
And why in the hell did your job from the Montana not come to Texas? Oh, wait, because you're not a nurse.
Because I'm not
Oh,
a nurse.
it doesn't make no difference.
I know.
I mean, that might be Texas regulations, but you're a federal regulation. So
I know.
regulatory federal should not
It's
go
just like,
away.
why am I not qualified to drive the shuttle around the parking lot?
Oh, I can answer this question real quick.
Well, I can't too. But anyway, my point is the government has always moved as slow as molasses, except for when you owe them money. And you just froze, dude.
I've been frozen.
Oh. But the government moves slow as molasses, except for when you owe them money. So I don't understand any job anymore. When you go apply for a job, if you don't get hired, you used to get a letter in the mail. Hey, we chose another candidate, or hey, we really liked all of your qualifications, but we needed somebody with qualification X, and you didn't have that. Okay, cool, I understand. But when you got people out here applying for jobs because they need a job, and you either don't send them anything, so they sit there thinking they're waiting on this interview, or you interview them, and then tell them, hey, we'll be hiring in 6 months. Or you go to a job fair and all these companies are there wanting to hire veterans, but you had to have been captain or above with a master's degree to get a job making $40,000 a year.
Yeah, see, I didn't like that. But I did know when I had my job fair, we did pretty
Yeah.
lawyers, we did pretty well. People, yeah, I left that up to somebody that didn't do their job, but
Well, anyway,
that was COVID too. So,
we can do that again someday. But
well, that's not gonna do it. That's BFW. We'll do it.
my thing is, I want to have a job fair with companies that are going to let you fill out an application and do an interview that day and then tell you that day whether you got a job or not. I don't understand why that's so hard. I've hired and fired people. It doesn't take me 20 minutes to know whether I want to hire you or not.
Yeah.
And it sure as hell don't take me 20 minutes to decide if I want to fire you.
No, no, I'm gonna know within the first few minutes of your work ethic just by talking to you.
But I mean, when I was hiring people for my other job that I had, as soon as I got a resume, you got a phone call. And I was like, hey, let's get together. I'll buy you a cup of coffee at Starbucks and we'll do this job interview. And we'd go sit down at Starbucks. I'd buy them a cup of coffee and we'd do the job interview. And when it was over, if I liked them, I'd say, hey, why don't you give it a try? And if I didn't, I'd just tell them the truth. Hey, I don't think this is going to fit you.
Yep. And I've had employers too that they would, I'd go in and be like, hey, this is what it says I'm gonna be doing, and then they were like, "Oh, well, you're gonna be doing actually this, this, and this," and I'm like, I don't think this job is for me. So
Yeah.
sorry. Well, sorry to waste your time. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that.
But that's my thing when they have a big job fair, and I respect these people that set up all these job fairs. I'm not saying don't do it, but it ought to be like a requirement. You want to participate in the job fair as a company, you better be having people on scene who can do the interviews for the jobs and who can make a hiring decision that day. Because those people are in those job fairs, whether they're veterans, dependents, non-veterans, whatever. It don't matter who you are. If you're looking for a job, you're not looking for a job because you want a job 6 months from now.
And I know that I had I don't even remember who all I had over there. I had schools. I had
Yep.
a lot of different companies there, didn't I? I had like 12, 13 different people come into the job fair, and I like Spectrum. I had to call them, and they sent a field man.
Yep.
Was that? But still, we
Well,
tried.
yeah, my company was there that day, remember?
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And I was ready to do an interview and hire right there on the spot. I wasn't playing.
Well, yeah, we already,
Do what?
yeah, we already talked.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know. But
other people not doing their job and depending on people,
yeah,
and you
but my
know,
point. Sorry, my point being is if you're going to have a job fair, have a job fair where people can get hired. Because
I mean, at least that be like, okay, have the interview done, and if they want you to go to the next step, at least be like, okay, well, we're gonna have to have you meet a manager.
right.
We
Well,
will
and that
call you within the next 48 hours. I'll send you an email, and we'll get you the second
yeah.
set up.
Well, and you got these companies now. Like my son-in-law when he was looking for a job. You got companies wanting you to come back for. He went to one company for 7 interviews.
Mm,
And
nope.
I told him, I was like, "You nicer than me, because after interview number 2, if they ain't made a decision, I'm gonna make it for them."
Yeah, I'm not. What in the hell is 7 interviews? Unless you're like some exec, but still, I'm not. I'm not
Again, if corporate America is that far down the rabbit hole that it takes that many people to make the decision to hire somebody for one position, that'd be like that'd be like saying the military has to have 7 generals in a room to decide whether a private can go home on leave for the weekend. Are you there?
basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's crazy, and then they don't make decisions. You know, they don't make a yes or no decision. They make a decision or they make no decision. So if they make a decision, they hire somebody. If they don't hire anybody, they just don't make a decision. They don't say yes or no. They don't send them a letter. They just say nothing.
Well, I mean, I was getting emails or text messages. When you applied, they would send you an email. Sorry,
Yeah.
there's
We,
another candidate. So, I mean,
sometimes you do, but in general, you don't.
no, no. Some of them I did. Some of them I didn't.
Hmm.
Like, sorry, we chose another candidate or whatever. And I'm like, okay.
Or you fill out an online application and then they send you an email like 10 days later at 2 in the morning that you never see that says, "Hey, go fill out this form," and then you don't see it because it's in your junk email. And 3, 4 weeks down the road, you call them and be like, "Hey, I applied for this job and I didn't hear anything. Oh, we sent you an email about filling out this other form. Oh, well, I never saw the email." You know, like once the hiring process starts, the phone needs to ring. People got to get back to talking to people. That's part of our problem in America is nobody wants to talk to anybody.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like where were we at? And I said, oh, 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 it was at the bar. Me and Logan went to play pool the other day. When I was staying with my nephew, we went to a little bar. I was like, all right. A lot of older cats was there, and I was like, well, it's kind of slow. So we went down the road. There was a lot of older cats next to it. I was like, well, and everybody was like, we figured we had some young people coming in here. I'm like, we won't. I was like, because they're going to be too busy being on their phones, talking on their phones or doing
Hmm.
that, and actually sitting at a bar, smoking a cigarette, talking to you next, the guy sitting next to you about life. And that's what the bar was actually made for. I mean, everybody had their little watering hole. They went home. They went there after work and
Yeah.
too, and then they went, went on home.
Yep.
But now I don't. It's, nobody talks to anybody.
I don't know.
Kids, the kids are so antisocial. They look like they're embarrassed to try to talk to you face to face when you go to order something from your phone.
Yep.
Why can't you use the machine?
Well, and
Fuck
you
you.
know, like Holly and I were just talking a while ago, the current generation, last couple of generations, really, they're so wrapped up in who likes them on social media. They think if somebody on social media says hi and sends them a friend request, that's your friend for life.
Yeah, that's
And if somebody that lives in Zimbabwe talked to them twice and then didn't talk to them anymore, they have a emotional meltdown. That person doesn't like me.
I don't like
I don't care whether you like me or not.
I
But,
don't
well, brother, we've been
like
at this a little over 40 minutes. We should probably cut it off.
yeah,
And you're going to have plenty of editing to do, I'm sure.
yep, I'm gonna hit post.
All
I
right.
don't edit them no more. I just
Uh,
leave them as live videos. If they get done, they get done. If they don't, they don't. I mean, we're
yeah.
doing it for us. We're not doing it for anybody else. They were
Yeah.
they learn something good. If they don't.
Yep. All right, brother.
I'll
I'll
holler at you later.
ski